Welcome to Santa Barbara Wargaming. We have an Infinity battle report for you today. 300 points, Nomads versus Aleph. Over here, I have a Sin Eater with a multi-sniper rifle. Down here, I have a Reverend Custodier. I have a link team of moderators, one with a Spitfire. I have a Lunkenod Sputnik. And I have a Riot Girl. And then I've deployed 3 camo markers here, here, and here. We're using the YAMS mission system. The mission that I revealed is collect. So I have to collect a document from any unconscious or dead model by passing a willpower check. Our flag is located right here. And our civilian is located right here. And we'll see Michael's list in just a second.
Michael, I'll be playing 300 points of Aleph today. For my deployment, as well as turn 1, sweeping left to right through my deployment zone, we have a post-human Mark I hacker here. We also have a Myrmidon lieutenant. We have a Deva functionary with a multispectral visor and a Spitfire. We have, I guess it's the Lamed 8-point remote hacking support rebot. I have a couple of proxied markers representing net rods. One of them is here, a good scatter towards my deployment zone. The other one is here, more of a central location on the table. Moving further down, we have Achilles, the man himself. We have an Asura with Spitfire, a multispectral visor. And then we have a Mervin as well, who has a chain rifle. I have first turn, so we'll be kicking it off shortly. So Aleph had a very productive first turn. Laid down a base of smoke grenades and was able to advance and take out the civilian who was in a central point with Achilles. Under the cover of smoke, my Asura, she stepped out of cover, moved to about here and was able to basically open fire on a number of good targets. Was able to push this sniper back, successfully dodging, as well as this successful dodge on the sniper down at the other end of the table. So they escaped unscathed, but the Lunkenod robot back in here was not quite so lucky. I was able to get line of sight through this narrow alleyway right here and was able to pick him off. I was then pulled the Asura back into cover and then pulled Achilles back into cover. Achilles did take a shot from the sniper. Achilles wasn't quite protected by all the smoke. The sniper missed with both shots. Thanks, optical disruption device, no big deal.
Alright, Nomads turn 1 was fairly decent. I advanced my Spitfire equipped Riot Girl over on the left flank. She fired, killed his net rod over behind the building. My combi rifle equipped Zero moved over here on the building, shot and killed his remote. Other notable things is the Riot Girl put down some suppressive fire right over here. He'll probably manage to get some smoke grenades in my way, but I'm hopefully going to make it a little more difficult to block my line of sight. My Sin Eater scooted back over from his dodge so I could cover this alleyway, so if Achilles pops his head out again, I might be able to blow it off. I advanced my moderator link team. They took up defensive positions around these buildings right here. Over on the right, my Prowler advanced, searched the crate, earning me a point under the yet another mission system. And then re-camoed and then moved to a defensive position right here, covering my right. So currently it's 1 point to 1 point. Michael killed the civilian and I've searched the crate. We each have 3 missions left, one of them worth 2 points. So it's really up in the air right now. I think this will be a decisive turn from Michael's point of view. So I'm very excited to see what happens. And one other thing that I did is my Reverend Custodier fired a marker right here. So I have a repeater right here. So if I generate an arrow in this area, I'll be able to hack Michael's pieces.
It's a productive turn for Aleph. Was able to get down a good base of fire with some Spitfires under the protection of smoke. Having 2 models with Spitfires and multispectral visors does allow for some pretty dominant firepower turns. In my active turn, without having to worry too much about retaliation, my Asura was able to pick off a member of his link team back here and drive the other one back into cover. Achilles was able to target the model over here who is giving suppressing fire in this direction Wasn't able to kill this model, but was able to force it with a dodge to retreat back into cover, freeing up both the Asura and the Myrmidon to do their thing, and they had a very strong turn indeed. The Asura, before ducking back into cover, was able to pick off the remote marker here, the repeater marker there as well. Over here, the Myrmidon Lieutenant, he moves out through a smoke grenade. I put it on top of the building for clarity's sake, but it's basically masking this area, allowing the Deva to move out, spot the camo marker here, and then using our Spitfire, eradicate the target here, and then move up into cover.
Dead Prowler.
Dead Prowler. Overall, a productive turn for Aleph.
Alright, Nomads turn 2. I spent almost my entire orders felling the Great Achilles. My Reverend Custodier fired yet another repeater, landed right here, within 8 inches of Achilles. I then spent a few orders and successfully hacked Achilles and immobilized him. Then my Riot Girl advanced over here on the left, and after pouring boxes of bullets into Achilles, he finally went down. He was not Michael's lieutenant, unfortunately, which is unfortunate for a number of reasons. I played as if he was his lieutenant, and I burned pretty much my whole second turn trying to take him out, so that way Michael would lose his next turn, unless of course he had chain of command. And also, I revealed it, I shouldn't have, but I did, is that one of my missions is kill lieutenant. So I did not succeed in my mission, but I did manage to kill Achilles, so...
Call it a moral victory.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Another fairly productive turn for Aleph. Even with the loss of Achilles, I was able to make a pretty strong flanking maneuver with my Deva Functionary with multispectral visor and Spitfire here up the flank. She started in this cover here, went prone, and was able to crawl under the wall in order to avoid a potential Overwatch ARO from the model in the tower there.
The Sin Eater.
The Sin Eater. She was able to get in contact with the crate, inspect the crate, fulfilling one of my objectives. I wanted to get a little bit aggressive with her since I was in a very nice flanking position here for a couple of models over set up here. She was able to get them without cover, opening fire, splitting her burst with the Spitfire, and taking both of them down. She then advanced to this crate for cover. Unfortunately, the ARO was able to pick her off, but she was definitely able to get the job done, fulfilling an objective, spotting virtually everybody and killing a couple of models. Other than that, the Asura spent an order to jump out, take some shots at the Riot Girl. Didn't roll particularly well. The Riot Girl dodged and was able to stay on her feet. We're closing in on turn 4. The final turn of the game should be an interesting one.
The current score is Michael has 2 successful objectives, I have 1. Alright, Nomads turn 3. I started out engaging in a firefight between my Riot Girl and his Asura. Battle of the heavy armored females. My first shot was pretty successful. I did a wound to him. My second shot, he managed to dodge away behind the wall, so that ended that. But I did manage to wound him, so hopefully I'll be able to finish him off in my last turn. My other enterprising link team over here, my moderators, moved over on the right and searched his corpse / desecrated his corpse. So that was my doubler quits. So that was worth 2 points. So that vaulted me into the lead, 3 points to 2. Michael has his turn 4 coming up, so we'll see what kind of tricks he has. Hopefully I'll be able to hold my lead, but we'll see how it ends up.
This was a particularly tremendous turn. Aleph's final turn, I revealed my post-human Mark II with thermo-optic camouflage, who was hiding in this backmost corner of the building. She activated, used an order to move towards the lift, going prone, used another order to crawl to the lift, moving up. The reason I went prone was to avoid the fire from the sniper over there. Because I was in the back arc, she had a very easy shot at the model setup here. Was able to drop the Zero, was able to drop that model, stay prone to avoid return fire. Over here, with some help from a smoke grenade, my Asura was able to step out and blast down the Riot Girl using a couple of orders. One lucky crit helped me to finish her off. And then both the Asura and the Myrmidon advanced towards Aaron's table edge.
Alright, Nomads turn 4. I had a very successful turn. I managed to snatch draw from the jaws of defeat. My moderators advanced over here on the right flank. They managed to kill both his lieutenant and his hacker, which earned me 2 more points, getting me to 5 points. I had kill the leader, kill the boffin, collect, and search the crate. And so I achieved all 4 of those, plus my double. My double was, I believe, was collect. So that was 5 points for me. Michael actually got 5 points as well, because he assessed, he searched the crate, he advanced, and he killed the pigeon. So it ended up being a 5-5 tie. Excellent game, huge bloodbath. Michael is definitely up on points right now, just because I have so few models left. But I mean, we both achieved all our objectives, so I think Nomads and Aleph can go home tonight to their children or their little robotic.
That's really about
creatures.
as good as it gets game-wise. Plenty of swings on both sides. I think that we, both made some strong moves. I was particularly pleased with saving the post-human Mark II in reserve until turn 4. Sometimes I was wondering if I was squandering her as a resource, but I found that I had the models to be able to make the power plays and the moves that I wanted to have. He had some good models in position as well to potentially suppress AROs. So I wanted to be conservative with her and try to use her to remove anything that was problematic and go for sort of a late game Rambo approach to any objectives that hadn't been fulfilled yet. Ultimately, she helped to do that. It would have been a real problem if the sniper on this rooftop here, who was prone for most of the game, had been able to pop up last turn and have a very strong late game. So being able to activate the post-human Mark II, move her up, remove that model, and then have her in the opponent's table side to help score that last objective, I think was useful as well as being deeply surprising. I have I made a note here, as players should, to denote where their thermoptic camouflage models begin their deployment. When I announced that the post-human Mark II was being revealed, I was asked to produce this. Aaron's reaction.
I was overcome.
There were cries of incredulity.
That's why this paper is a little crumpled and worse for the wear when it was balled up and thrown across the room.
Oh.
All in all, a very dramatic game. Tremendous fun. A good example of the strategic play as well as some of the very cinematic and dramatic moments that a game like Infinity can produce.
Yeah, right down to the end. Michael had a commanding lead going into the 4th turn, and then this little moderator, I need to paint her now because she's a stud, just managed to burst down the door in this building over here and just murder the shit out of his lieutenant and his hacker, and that really changed the game and allowed me to draw versus a pretty devastating defeat. So great end of the game. It's a draw, which I don't generally like draws, but in this case, I'm glad I made
well-deserved draw.
Yeah, I was definitely careless with the positioning of my lieutenant on the very final turn. I didn't even know there was a door over here, so I had a lieutenant like facing the door,
the wrong door.
But that's also a good example of how it really pays to take some time to evaluate the terrain, know exactly what the major fire angles are going to be, and also bear in mind too the type of threat range you can get even with a relatively low order pool. I thought I was going to be fairly safe facing the door with my lieutenant in this building and his remaining models clustered over here.
The fact that he had 4 orders and I swept around here and just gunned them down.
It was a good move and a very dramatic ending to an excellent Infinity game.
This is Santa Barbara Wargaming. May you roll poorly.